This week's episode of the Rural Woman Podcast is brought to you by the patrons of the Rural Woman Podcast. This amazing group of individuals contribute financially to the Rural Woman Podcast to ensure the stories of women in agriculture hit your earbuds each and every week. Want to join them in supporting the stories of women in agriculture while getting access to extended episodes, patron-only episodes, and other great perks? Head on over to wildrosefarmer.com to learn more about how you can become a patron through Patreon. Hi, I'm Katelyn Dubin, and this is the Rural Woman Podcast. I'm a first-generation farmer who married into agriculture. Born and raised in a city, I was so unfamiliar with where my food came from, but I was determined to figure it out. Through my journey into agriculture, I saw women who were strong but humble, often taking a back seat. To me, these women were leaders who deserved a seat at the table. I created the Rural Woman Podcast to share the voices of women in an industry whose stories often went untold. The rural entrepreneurs who live and breathe their work, full of grit and pride. We come here to share our stories, to be in community with each other, to be challenged and inspired, but most importantly, to be celebrated and to be heard. We may not all live, farm, ranch, or homestead the same, but we are all connected. We are rural women, and our stories are worthy of being told. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Rural Woman Podcast. Today, you'll hear from me. This episode is our annual Ask Katelyn Anything, hosted by our friend of the podcast and my dear friend, Annabel Morgan, where I get to answer listener questions that are submitted either through Instagram, Facebook, or we do have a form up on the show notes page that is up 24/7 where you could submit your questions and we get to them in these Ask Katelyn Anything episodes. So it was really fun. This year we actually did this episode as a live show. We hosted it live over on Zoom, and we had a guest audience, which was really fun to do. And they got to see my background while I was recording, which happened to be on a little vacation that I got to take this winter after my speaking tour and after a long farming season. I got to put my feet up and get to chat with all of you. For the folks who would like to see the video portion of this interview, you can head on over to our Patreon where members get to view the full unedited version of this episode. And speaking of Patreon, I would like to give a warm welcome to our newest member, Taylor N, over on Patreon. Taylor is joining us at the Barn Brew Buddy tier, where she will get extended episodes as well as my solo show. Maybe you can relate directly to her listening platform of choice. So thank you so much, Taylor, for your support and all the other members over on Patreon who continue to support the show each and every month. Without further ado, my friends, let's get to this week's episode with me and our friend Annabel Morgan.
Welcome to my podcast that I produce, edit, and gather all the guests for, meaning one person. I don't actually do any of that. But my guest today is Katelyn, and we were asking her all the good questions.
Thank you for being the host today. I think we've done this 4 times now, maybe 3.
Back by demand, right?
You are the only person they ask back by popular demand. It offends me.
Well, I'm offended that I'm not in that actual, like on the patio with you on your holiday with the palm trees. So
this is just a Zoom background, like one of those, the breeze in my hair is just an extra bonus.
Okay. All right. We start with some questions.
I guess so. We ready?
Well, I don't agree with the first one. I should have probably read these first. Why aren't any of your cats named Annabelle?
You don't want me to name anything Annabelle.
Very true.
That's why I don't name anything Annabelle, out of respect for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't approve at all.
Welcome.
Okay, so let's answer. Are we saying who asked the questions? They might not want that. They're right. So we'll just ask.
I think you could say their name. I don't think any of them were offensive or mean.
Well, I haven't gotten to mine yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, first, what is the one piece of advice you have for women from non-ag backgrounds marrying into a farm family?
Run away. No, I'm just kidding. I always say that every year. Every year somebody asks me this, and I love this question. And I think every year my answer slightly changes from run away to jump in with your boots on. I think for folks who are coming into agriculture, either through partnership or marriage, I think you have a really unique opportunity to really embrace the family that you are coming into. But you also have this unique opportunity to bring yourself into that operation too. I know for me, I felt like I had to abandon myself or my personality or my life in order to fully embrace the new family that I was coming into. But that's not the case. And this family loved me for me when I got here, and I'm going to assume it's the same for you. And bringing your own pizzazz and personality into a farming operation, I think only improves it. So my advice is to embrace the newness and the change, but honestly, stick true to who you are, because if you're coming there, they loved you for you in the first place. So don't run away that far all the time. Sometimes you can come to Mexico, and that's fine.
Okay. So the next question from the same...
What? Hey, I want to ask you the same question, Annabelle.
Oh.
I want to flip that around. What's your answer?
I think very similar. Finding your own space, understanding, like learning to appreciate that you do have a value. My value does not look like I thought it would when I started. So family dynamics are really hard, especially when you come onto like a farm or ranch that's been around for a really long time. So very similar to what you said. Find your place, understand that you have value, even if it's not working on the farm.
Yeah. Farmers really like third-party health benefits if you can.
I was going to say,
swing them. If you have health insurance through an off-farm job, like you are a real catch.
Exactly. Like, I think a lot of people say that, right? To be a successful rancher, you have to have a wife that works off the ranch.
Either a teacher or a nurse.
Yep.
Or works in a bank.
Very common. Okay. Next question. You ready? This is also from Beth, and she wants to know, what is your go-to karaoke song?
Good question. My go-to karaoke song, I don't have any, but I have to tell you, for the folks who are listening and can't physically see me through a podcast, I'm sitting in Mexico right now, and they have karaoke here every night. And I have to tell you, I haven't heard anyone who doesn't sound like they're strangling a cat yet. And it is my absolute pleasure to hear them sing. I love it. I don't have a go-to karaoke song. I don't think I've ever sang karaoke out loud. Probably should.
Wait, do you not have secondhand embarrassment? Karaoke puts me in an actual nervous breakdown.
Oh no, I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy for them.
I need to go with you at a karaoke one day, because when people sing karaoke to me, I have to leave. I get like actual goosebumps.
There was a group of young gentlemen singing the other day, and it was real bad. And I was just so happy for them, because I just knew that the next morning they were not going to feel that great.
Okay, this is a good one. If you had to ride in a tractor all day with someone alive and famous, who would it be and why?
I love this question. And our friend JW, Julia Wells, sent in this question. And I've given a lot of thought about it. And it says famous, right? Or it just says anybody. Okay. Honestly, famous-wise, I don't know. I don't know famous-wise, but I know somebody that I personally know that I think is famous in their own right is Baba. I want to ride in the tractor with Baba, which is Justin's Ukrainian grandmother. She's 97 this year. And I could just listen to that woman talk and talk and talk for hours because of the stories that she had to share and the things that she had to say. So for me, it would be an absolute honor and privilege to have Baba be able to sit in the tractor with me and get to see how the farm's grown since she emigrated here. And to see what her children and her grandson have built. So that's my answer. I say that I'm not starstruck by people, like famous people. I don't know. It's weird to me because on the flip side, when people come up to me and they feel, so you get like uncomfortable with the karaoke people. When people come up to me and like don't think I'm just a normal person, that's when I'm kind of like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to put my hands? So that's my answer. I'd ride in the tractor with Baba. So mobility-wise, I don't think she could get in the tractor, but happy to go and visit her and sit with her anyways and hear her stories when she has to share them. So
it's a good one.
Who would you sit with?
Do you guys even know me? The King of England.
The Queen?
Dad, it said it had to be a live person. I would 100% do the Queen first, but he's my second choice.
For sure. Oh, I think the Queen would like to come to the ranch and see all your cows.
Yeah, she loved cows.
She loves cows. R.I.P.
Long live the Queen. All right, Katelyn, if you could give your 16-year-old self some advice, what would it be? Plus, what is your favorite color? So you have to answer 2 questions.
2 questions. 16-year-old self. That change is a good thing. When you change, you grow, and changes can either seem at the time good or bad. And either way, I think eventually things work out the way that they're supposed to. So also stay away from boys. Don't talk back to your parents. Only when they deserve it, actually. Other than that, travel more. Stop being a scaredy pants of everything. I feel like in the last, well, how old am I? Math is hard. So 16 years ago, 17 years ago when I was 16, there's been a lot of change in my life since then, good and bad. But eventually it all works out to be good. So happy for that. And what's my favorite color? Green. I love green.
Green is good.
What's your favorite color?
Besides black?
Yeah.
Okay, blue.
Blue. Okay.
Blue. If you could do only one job on the farm for a week solid, what would it be?
Oh my God. I don't think there's any job I like enough on the farm to have to do it a week solid. Let's see. Feed the cats. That's about the only job I would want to do. Feed the cats and goats. No, I love the busy times and I love working in the field. I know I've had many conversations with people about like the fear of operating equipment and breaking things and whatever else, but I love working in the field and the equipment. In the last 2 years, I think I have the most hours operated on the combine. And for anybody listening who's ever been told that like it's really hard and it's too complicated and whatever else, whoever told you that is lying to you because they don't want to give up the operator seat because it's real fun. You know, it's complicated in its own sense. You have to get your settings right and whatever else. But I had a fun conversation with Justin earlier this winter. We had sent in a sample of some wheat that was combined. And the grader had said, like, this is one of the cleanest samples I've ever seen. Like, the kernels were all intact and all of the things. Oh, my gosh, a dog. So good. And Justin said to the guy, he's like, well, that's nice of you to say. Like, my wife combined that. And the only reason it looks that good is because she has the patience of a saint. And if I'm told I need to slow down, I will slow down to as slow as I need to go to make sure that product on the other end looks pristine. So when anybody complains that it takes me too long to combine a field, you're welcome for the paycheck that comes after it. So, so if I could pick any job, it would be combining. And I say that now only because I've had many hours off of the combine since the fall. Ask me again in September if that's my same answer.
So Billy wants to know how the goats are doing and if you plan to expand the herd.
Oh my gosh. So I'm pretty sure Billy is local to me. And I don't know if Billy has this problem or if it's just a me problem. So the goats came on, like the girls, Kitty and Babs came on to the farm in 2021. I got them. So they're almost, oh my gosh, they're going to be 3. They're going to be 3 nagers soon. Oh my gosh. And they came as bottle babies. And it was always been my intention to buy in the spring and sell in the fall, which is the absolute worst marketing plan of all time when it comes to these small ruminant animals. But I didn't want to keep anything over winter because I am a fair-weathered farmer. and proud to admit that I hate the winter, I hate the snow. But once I gave them their first little bottle, I was like, these blessings are never going anywhere. And now these blessings are basically just glorified lawnmowers, because this year I didn't even try, honestly. Last year I tried real hard to find them a boyfriend, and they got ghosted multiple times. So these poor lonely ladies are just living their best life in the backyard and costing me all kinds of money and given no Fs, no fucks. So, but I would love to expand. But this year I didn't even try, honestly. Last year, between my speaking schedule and recording podcasts on the road and all of these things, I felt all sorts of burnout. So it wasn't even something that I considered this year. So no boyfriends for them. But Billy, if you're around and you know anybody who has a reliable man goat who would like to impregnate the kids, you let me know.
So we're going to skip one and go to another just to add, because it's about Kevin. Is he getting a girlfriend? And I have been a big advocate for Kevin getting a friend, but so far, no luck.
Yeah, it's been talked about. So honestly, if Kevin was to get a friend, probably be a brother for him, his bro. No, I have an alert set up on my phone for, it's like your guys' Craigslist. In Canada, it's Kijiji. I have an alert on my phone that comes up that says if a Bernese Mountain Dog is in my area that has been listed. And I have like alerts set if there's any of them that ever go to a shelter or anything like that. Because immediately, if it goes to a shelter, it's mine. Like, that's what I've already discussed. But no, Kevin has no definite plans of that. But to be fair, I told Justin that either we go on a vacation or Kevin gets a brother, and I'm on a vacation. So I think I might have to wait a little bit longer to ask for a new puppy. But he hasn't directly said no. TBD.
To be decided.
There's some right now that are about a 25-minute drive from the farm.
Are those the ones?
Yeah.
Oh, they're so cute. Okay.
They're real cute. Yeah.
All right.
So,
pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yeah. I like all pizza. All pizza to me is created equal, and especially if I don't have to cook it. So I'll eat it.
I know the answer to the next question, and it kind of ties in, but if you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Tacos.
Tacos.
Tacos would be it. Does everybody know like the white people taco night song?
Yes.
Because my friend Kim here, she doesn't. So I was trying to explain to her that I love tacos, but not all tacos are created equal.
It's true. How many tacos have you had this week?
Every day.
Yeah, see?
Sometimes twice a day.
Heaven.
I didn't have any tacos for breakfast, but there was, however, I shared this photo with you yesterday. There was a plate or a saucer that had said beef in its own juices, and that scared me a little. So I didn't eat any of that, but everything else is fair game. I'll eat it.
Fair enough. I found that to be a strange offering, but hey.
Like, if I could stay here and my job could be like to name the foods in the buffet, I think that would be a fun job. It's like naming paint colors. How do you choose the name of a paint color?
I know, that's hard.
Right.
But I wouldn't put it in its own juices. What is your go-to guilty pleasure? Ooh.
The family-friendly show, Annabelle, was my go-to guilty pleasure. I freaking love dogs. If I could watch dog videos online for days on end, I would. My favorite thing on the internet, I think the only reason I'm on the internet anymore is to watch the weekly, like, the dogs were good again this week. Here are my top 5. Recently, this winter, I have delved into my latest TV hyperfixation, which is the Real Housewives of wherever. So I've already made it through Beverly Hills. I'm working on Orange County. It's embarrassing to tell you, but there it is.
No, those shows are amazing. If you don't have appreciation for that, whatever. That's amazing.
Yep. You can help support the stories of women in agriculture to be shared through the Rural Woman podcast on Patreon. What is Patreon? It's a membership-based platform that helps fund and support creators like me to create and produce content like this that you all love. New to the Rural Woman Podcast Patreon is ad-free listening and patron-only bonus content and exclusive episodes. Learn more and join the patron gang today at patreon.com/The Rural Woman Podcast.
Tell us something we don't know about you.
I'm double jointed?
Gross, but show us.
No, I will not.
Is it like your hands?
Yeah, my hands are double jointed. And sometimes don't you remember the drama of the double jointed hands? I posted a photo and somebody noticed. They're like, hey, no offense, but what's wrong with your hands?
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
Now I say this out loud, and the sleuths of the Rural Women Podcast will be deep diving into all of the photos and zooming in. No, I have double jointed hands. It's just a thing. I used to be real upset by it, but we're good. What else do you not know about me? I don't think it's a surprise, but I'm an introvert. I don't extrovert all of the time. I don't get my energy from extroverting all the time, depending on what I'm doing. That's it. That's all I can think of.
I knew both of those. Try again.
You knew both of those, Kim? Oh, man. Try again. I don't know, man.
You should just let me answer this.
No, you shouldn't. Having friends on here is a dangerous thing.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Sure.
What is your favorite pet or animal on the farm?
Kevin.
Yeah.
Full stop. But man, I love baby animals. I really love any animal. Except for the bad one. I don't like raccoons. Like those. But those are the worst animals on the farm.
So where Katelyn is right now, there is a place where you can, I don't know if it's like an island or a bar or whatever. You know how it is, but
The bar.
I Googled it because I wanted her to go, where you can go and feed raccoons while you're at the bar, but she won't go. But there was a moment where we thought because if you look up Mexican raccoons, they are not the same as Canadian or American raccoons, but then they ended up being the same. So it was very disappointing.
Julia Wells just entered at the most perfect time as we were talking about raccoons.
Do you think she's joining? She's like, they're still talking about, they're honestly talking about raccoons. Are you kidding me?
We've been talking about raccoons for the last 31 minutes, JW. So, no, I will not go to the taco and raccoon bar in Puerto Vallarta. I will not. Bad idea. I
have a question. This past year, what has changed in your podcast? Like, what have your goals or what have you learned that has changed from the years before? Because if you listen, it's kind of almost a little bit of a different vibe. And what makes you think that vibe has changed a bit?
Tell me what you think the vibe has changed to.
Well, I think it's grown and it's gotten more popular and you've gotten more popular. So obviously that's, but I don't know. I think your questions are different and you're more mature in your podcasting, maybe in a good way. Not that you weren't mature.
Nicest thing you've ever said to me, Annabel Morgan.
I'll get used to it.
I've matured. I think this might be a bad thing, but I also think it's a good thing. I'm tired. I'm real tired in a good way because, I understand the complexities of living on a farm and farm life and all of those things. So I think that can make me a bit more relatable to people that are listening who have lived a farmer's life longer than I have. But I had the opportunity recently to sit down at a round table with the government and share with them the complexities of what it is to be a woman in agriculture in a rural space. I was sitting down with about a dozen other women from all different sectors of food and ag, and just to hear them speak about the challenges that they face as women in this industry, as business owners, as mothers, as, so many different hats that we wear. It can be really exhausting to think about all of the things that we have to go through. And as a woman in agriculture myself, and as a business owner myself, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who has a team that I am responsible for, I have a lot of pressure. So you get a little tired. But one of the points that I made to the folks that we were speaking to at the round table, a trend that I've noticed since I've started and before I even started this and when I got onto social media. Women in agriculture have always been here. We will always be here. And women in agriculture are not a trend. Sometimes we're getting the coverage that we deserve, and then other times it's silent because we're not companies and organizations. They've already done that. They've already advertised for women in agriculture. They already shared their stories last year, so they've moved on to something else, whether it's sustainable or regenerative or whatever the buzzword is. But the point that I made was we're not a trend, and I think for me that's what's changed. I guess when I started, it was because selfishly I wanted to listen to a podcast about women in agriculture, and when there really wasn't one, that's when I was like, well, I guess I have to start one myself. And to get to the point where there was traction, you question yourself a lot to see like if this is worth it, if these stories are worth it. And now unequivocally they are worth it, and they have always been worth it. So the really roundabout answer is, what has changed? I'm tired, which that really isn't new, but I am more willing than ever to put in the work to get these stories out there because I know how worthy they are, and I know the challenges that we face. And if I can share one person's story that changes one person's perspective or that helps one person out, then I can go to bed happy at night. So hopefully it's changed for the better, and I'm not just a grumpy old lady behind a microphone. But
Grumpy old lady. So that kind of answers the question that what keeps you coming back to the podcast room.
Yeah.
So we are going to ask, is Gardener Wild Rose Farmer coming back this season?
I think so. I took a break last year. All I grew was garlic, which you don't have to do anything for. But yeah, I think so. I think I need to get my hands dirty in the soil. I didn't start one gosh darn seed, and that's okay because I love to support my local greenhouses, and they do a bang up job with those starts. So yeah, nope. I think I'll dabble in the gardening scene a little bit.
Okay, one more thing, and I know the answer to this. Dream animal to have on the farm if money was no object.
You know this?
I feel it.
I don't think I know this.
Oh, really? Okay.
What do you think?
I just feel like you would have like a little fluffy herd of pet cows that you've rescued from somewhere.
Like the auction where I thought I rescued my other ones from? Well, I guess my dream animal, I would have Taco, like my cow. If I could be reunited with Taco, that would be majestic. No, I don't know. I think I would I'm good. Animals are so much work, everybody. Like I understand the allure of having the fun farm friends, but man, they're a lot of work and I'm tired. But yeah, Taco, if I could have Taco back, I would. Just like some of those like key goats that I had that, I always loved, like Larry.
Oh.
Larry looked like one of your former presidents with his pompadour hair. He was great, Larry. Kevin, always Kevin. All of the dogs and all of the good cats. So like Gary and Doug. Miss those two, but that's it. So, well, thanks for asking those questions. For my friends who are on this live call, you're welcome to unmute and ask a question too, or just stare at me lovingly in my Zoom background.
Here's my cheesy question. What's next for you?
Well, I have a beach chair over there. I'm gonna go sit in it. What's next for me? I don't know.
A nap?
A nap. No, I'm excited for farming this year. I want to get out and do stuff on the farm. Podcasts, we still podcasting. I have really neat opportunities for speaking in this upcoming year. I have other opportunities sitting in the old inbox that I think for a little, like, I'll be real honest, last year I burnt myself out real bad. And I was very cautious this speaking season for myself of what I was capable of and what I needed to say no to. But the things that I say yes to, I'm so excited for. And I have to shamelessly plug my team, as I often embarrass them by doing. The podcast wouldn't be where it is today without a few key people. And one of them is sitting in this room, so we can all stare at her awkwardly. Kim and Co. and her team. Kim and Kristen at Kim and Co. and They do an amazing back-end job of getting the podcast out there each and every week. And my audio editor, Max, has been with me for, I don't know, probably 4 years, close to 4 years now, Max. They are the reason that the podcast is still here. So they allow me to have the opportunity to dream big and figure out what's next, because they help me get all of these important stories out there. So shout out to them. What's next with you guys? Annabelle, what's next with you?
Well, we are just going into calving season. So can I answer this after I survive this?
Yep, you sure can.
I also have a kid who's about to be 18. So what's next for me is figuring out what I'm going to do when my kids aren't here anymore. Because I've been like a mom for a really long time.
Well, we already have a plan.
I know, but not everybody knows that plan.
Should we share? It is the 5th anniversary, so we could share.
We have probably since, I don't know, what do you say? Like since the
2020.
year that we met, I don't know, have been planning our own farm.
You're all invited.
We're all invited. But we're going to live on a commune sort of with all the animals. But like we need to have enough money to have somebody to take care of them all because we're tired. We don't want to actually. It started out that we were going to manage all the animals, but I think that's morphed into we'll have help, right?
Of course, yeah.
But the most important part is what?
The pool pig.
Pool pig.
We're going to have a pool and a pig's going to live by it.
So, because she was on a vacation, she vacationed so much. I mean, Justin, years ago, and I can't even remember where you were, but there was a pet.
Ranchita, California.
Yeah, that's right. And there was a pet pig. And it was like living by the pool. And now all I want is a pig that lives by a pool. So,
As a hog farmer, I do not suggest that.
JW, just crushing dreams. Crushing dreams.
What I live for.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was fun. I'm glad you guys were able to make it. When Kim told me, she was like, you're going to do this on Good Friday. I was like, well, it's a Good Friday to record a live podcast, because if it goes wrong, then there won't be hundreds of people staring at me trying to figure out what I did wrong setting this up. So this was a good first start. Annabelle, thank you. I'm going to press stop on recording, but we don't have to get out of this room. So. Thanks for listening to the Rural Woman Podcast. The Rural Woman Podcast is more than just a podcast. We are a community. A huge thank you to the Rural Woman Podcast team, audio editor Max Hofer, and admin support from Kim & Co. Online. A special thanks to our Patreon executive producers, Sarah Reedner from Happiness by the Acre and Carrie Munven from Laystone Farms. To learn how you can become a Patreon executive producer or other ways to financially support the show, head on over to wildrosefarmer.com to learn more. Be sure to hit the follow or subscribe button wherever you listen to the podcast to get the latest episodes directly on your playlist. And if you are loving the show, please be sure to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or any other platform that accepts ratings and reviews. You can connect with us on social media at The Rural Woman Podcast and with me at Wild Rose Farmer. One of the best ways you can support the show is by sharing it. Send this episode to a friend or share on your social media. Let's strengthen and amplify the voices of women in agriculture together. Until next time, my friend, keep sharing your story. Did you know that you can get this same great episode of the Rural Woman Podcast ad-free? I get it. Listening to ads during a podcast isn't always my favorite either. But in order to keep the lights and coffee pot on here at the Rural Woman Podcast Studios, they are necessary. I am so grateful to each and every one of my sponsors, but if you yourself would like to skip the ads while supporting the show, consider joining me over on Patreon. Patrons of the Rural Woman Podcast get ad-free episodes starting at Tier 5 on their podcast player of choice each week, plus some other great benefits. Find out more by heading to the link in today's show notes to learn how you can become a patron through Patreon.